Hanukkah is not only about Hanukkah geld and prizes, but there's a lot more to Hanukkah. There's a lot more to Hanukkah that motivates the Bnei Yisrael, motivates the Yidden to be able to fortify themselves, to give themselves strength an entire year. And the message of Hanukkah is very, very powerful. And I'd like to share this with you. We say in the Bimei Matisyahu that we all say every day in the Shemona Esrei and in benching a very famous and very important statement. What were the Yevonim trying to do to us? We say Lahashkicham Torasecha. The Yevonim was trying to make us forget the Torah, or Haviram Mechuke V'Tzavnecha, and to take us away from the decrees and the whole climate and message of Torah. Now, how were they supposed to do that? What was their methodology? Could you, let's say, point a gun or a sword at anybody and say, forget your father and mother? Is it possible? Could a person say, demand of you, forget that you are ever in a Jewish school, although you may have spent 5 to 10 years in a Jewish school, just to forget it? What was their methodology? How did they do it? To answer this question, it's very important to know the history of Hanukkah. And you go back a little bit, but back to the beginning of where it all started, then I think we can have the answer to this question. The real beginnings of Hanukkah start where Alexander the Great, then it was known as Alexander Mukdam, controlled the entire world, civilized world, most of the civilized world, and he was conquering country after country. He was on his way to Yerushalayim. Many of you know the story. He was about to attack, and all of a sudden, as he was about to attack, Shimon HaTzadik, with the Kohen Gadol dressed in the Bigdei Kahuna, approached Alexander, and Alexander got off his horse and he bowed down, and his servants couldn't understand what's going on over here. We're about to attack Yerushalayim, and our king, our general, is bowing down to Shimon HaTzadik. And he said to everybody that the reason why I'm doing this is that when I had a dream, and my dream, every time I was about to go to war, I had a dream that this great tzaddik said you'll be successful. He gave me the fortification, he gave me the confidence and the courage, and I was successful in every war campaign. How could I go and attack him? I want all my soldiers and officers to bow down to him. From that point on, Alexander the Great became very friendly with the Bnei Yisrael, helped build their cities, and helped spread Greek culture throughout Eretz Yisrael. Now, naturally, those who are the Frum Grushin, people who are close to the Torah, were not affected by this. But those who are on the borderline, who are not committed to Yiddishkeit the way they were supposed to be, were very much affected by it. And the Misyavnim, the Hellenizers, began from this point in history. This is where things started to drop down. When things were going great, when they had such comforts, when they had such respect from the Goyim, all of a sudden things started to go down from that point on. When Alexander the Great died and his kingdom was divided among his generals, so the portion of Eretz Yisrael ended up by the Syrian Greeks. And at that point it was Alexander III, Antiochus III, who was nice to the Bnei Yisrael, although he imposed taxes on them, and things were going fine. When he passed away, the Seleucids came, his son came, and he was already in Russia, and the Hellenists cashed in very much and said, we want to break away from being committed, and we'll show you how to go against the Bnei Yisrael. And that's when things really started to get bad. When he died, Then Antiochus IV, which we know as the Antiochus of Russia, the real Russia, came into picture. And unfortunately, all of the things that we hear about in Chanukah took place. Tremendous Mesiras Nefesh, the killings, the story of the Maccabees, Matisho, and everybody involved in all of the self-sacrifice that took place at this point in history. What was their methodology? How were they able to get to that? How were they able to get so many Yidden? The Hellenizers, those who went away from Torah, were very much attracted to the culture, the Greek culture, the beauty, the immorality, that they idolized the body. They kept feeding Antiochus, we'll make you rich, we'll help you go and get whatever you need, we'll go into the Beit HaMikdash, we'll do everything that you need. And as a result, the Hellenists had the upper hand, and Nebuch, they were able to force tremendous decrees on the Yidden. Now what happened is, when you put all of these cultural things into the mind of a Jew, slowly begins to draw a tremendous effect on the Yiddishkeit, and it starts to disappear. How could that happen? So we all know that if you take oil and mix it in water, we know the oil goes to the top. Now I would like to give you a physical, graphic example, which I like to use since I am a teacher. Here's a container of water mixed with oil. Take a good look. The water and oil are in one jar. You mix them up, the oil goes to the top, and the water goes to the bottom. There are two ways of getting the oil easily out of this jar. One way is take a spoon and start scooping, scoop after scoop, spoon after spoon, until all of the oil's out. The other way, which is much easier, is just keep on pouring water. And by pouring more water into this container, very easily the oil will disappear. It'll go to the top, and there'll be nothing left in a few minutes. This was the methodology of the Greeks. The methodology was to keep on pouring Greek culture, with the help of the Hellenizers, into the hearts and the minds of the Yidden, and there'll be nothing left. And it worked tremendously. They kept on pouring more and more immorality, violence, and all the stuff that the Greeks believed in, attracted more and more of the weaker Yidden, and the split between the Perushim, between the Frum, between the committed and the Hellenists drew and grew further and further and further apart, until there were actually two complete camps, one against the other. This is what it's meant. Lahashkicham teirasecha or lahavira mechuke v'tzeinecha. This is how the Greeks succeeded, or tried to succeed, into making the Bnei Yisrael forget the Torah and to remove them from being committed to the age-old decrees and commitments that the Bnei Yisrael had for so many centuries. The Medrash Tanchuma, Parshat Baloscha, compares the Bnei Yisrael to Shem and Zayis. We are all compared to Shem and Zayis. Not only then, but now. And just like Shem and Zayis can never be mixed with water, our minds cannot be mixed with inappropriate things. It's impossible for a Torah mind to exist with inappropriate thoughts, cultures, and behaviors. Otherwise, it just disappears. The message and the tefillah that we say in B'mei Matisyo is not just for them, but applies very strongly today to us, now more ever now than ever before. Where we are challenged, we are exposed to all sorts of media in the street with billboards, media in printed material, and we go into all sorts of stores and shopping malls. We are challenged, certainly with the media at home, with television and internet. We are challenged. This is part of life. And we can't be misled and make a mistake that the oil in our container, like the Torah in our minds, will remain if we're not vigilant, we're not careful, and we're not concerned. The job of every Ben Yisrael, the responsibility of every Ben Yisrael, is to try his hardest to keep the Torah that's compared to the oil pure in his mind, in order for it to be able to remain with him and to help him succeed and flourish in his lifetime. Hanukkah comes once a year, but the message is every single day. We get the energy, the confidence, the support to be able to fight these influences by being able to understand when we say "Lahashkichem tarasecha ol havir mechukei v'tzonecha" did not only apply to them 200 years ago. It applies to us today, right now. And we have to continuously be vigilant, be careful, be on guard, so that the Torah that's in our minds remains there and is sacred and helps us succeed in our daily avodas Hashem. May be the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we take this message to heart, do what we can to preserve the sanctity of our hearts, minds, and our homes, and may we be zeicher to a true Chag Sameach. Hagut Tavach.